Hi, everybody! Hope everybody's having a good week. Well, the week just started. Never mind. I hope everybody has a good week. Just gonna make sure all our levels are cool here. My computer's been taking a big old poop this morning, so if anything is real wrong with the stream, please inform me in the chat and I'll see what I can do about it. This is episode 2 of Craft Hags Season 2. Thank you for joining us, everybody, last week, and hi again this week. I see you all in the chat. And I want to say a huge thank you to Crystal. She set up a Discord for us to use, so head on over there. I'm sure she'll post a link in the chat any minute now. And if not, links might not work on the chat right now, but I will tweet that out again later, sometime this week for sure, because you should all be going over there and sharing the cool stuff you guys are making, and you just get to hang out with each other and be buds, and buds are fun, so let's make more buds. I also want to say thank you to Sirenscape. That's what we're listening to right now. We've got the swamp sound set on. I've turned off all the bubbling and gurgling noises from this sound set. And also the bugs. I turned down the bugs a little bit. But that's so cool that Sirenscape lets you perfectly customize every sound set that they made for exactly your needs. And my exact needs don't include cicadas and large buzzing insects right now, so I turned those down, and now we've got a nice relaxing swamp to listen to, whatever that means. And I picked swamp today because today we're going to be making Scrummy's little shoe cover things. I can't really call them boots because they don't really have a hard sole, and I can't really call them sandals because they don't even have anything under the toes. My toes will just be sticking out, kind of like toe socks if you just chopped all the toes off the toe socks. So we're calling them foot covers, I think. And I tweeted about the inspiration I got this idea from. It's a picture I found on Pinterest, and then I followed that picture back to the DeviantArt that belongs to the person who originally designed these. Theirs were ankle sock height. We're gonna be doing all the way up to the knee, like knee-high boot style. For Scrummy. Also, before we start, I want to fill you in on what I did this week off stream. I finished the little reference sheet, I guess you'll call it. I'm gonna try to post a link in the chat here to the Twitter moment that I created. This is where I will be compiling every fun picture I take of all the progress on this whole thing. I want you all to check it out. And then that way, if you miss several weeks of craft tags and you want to get caught up on what's been done and what still needs to be done and what improvements we made and all that kind of stuff, head over there. That'll be on the Craft Tags Twitter. I'll also be posting these on the Craft Tag Instagram, I promise, this time. I've been really good about it this week, so I'm going to try to keep that up for you guys so that everybody's always on the same page. But what I did while off stream this week was finish the reference sheet, and you guys can check it out at that Twitter moment that I posted. I had a close-up of my face in there too with kind of like a makeup test, and then I also drew on the ears and the eyes just to get an idea of what my face will look like. And then also I took a picture of my face just like this, and it was very informing about the colors that are in my face and what I'm gonna have to do to make my face fit the palette of the costume, which is very informative. My face is very pink and red. That's just what my skin tone is like, but when you put a picture of my face the way it is next to the palette that we designed last week, it was glaringly red. Like, it made it look so much more pinky than it normally is, and which informed me that I'm gonna have to do a lot of toning makeup work, like adding grays and greens. And I had that in mind already, just for like her mold patches and stuff, and Just some other makeup ideas I have. Like, I think it'd be fun to put some moss in my hair, lichens maybe, stuff like that. But it really did let me know that my face is the wrong color to fit in with this palette I'm going for. But I got to, like, mess with that and, like, play with makeup ideas too, which was cool. Like, even just, like, creating a different brow shape or, like, knowing I'm gonna have to shade my eyes really heavily. And then playing with, like, mascara or not. Like, it kind of made her look more feminine, but I got to see what that would look like before I even put it on my face. And I know that that's a luxury I have because I have Photoshop. Some of you might find workarounds. If you do, post those in the Discord. If you find cheaper ways or other ways of doing what I'm doing that might help other people, feel free to share those with the community. That's what we're all here for, is to help each other out and make cool stuff. So, head on over there. You get a good idea of what Scrummy's going to look like at the end of this whole process, which is super cool to see right now because we have almost nothing done. But we kind of get to cheat and get excited about what it's going to look like because it's all planned out for us. Another thing I posted online in the Twitter moment is these ears. I've had these ears for a while now, but I just wanted you to see. I can't, like, on top of the headphones. Maybe I can here. You won't be able to hear me. Here, we'll do like a half. But you can kind of get an idea of how big these ears are gonna be on me. It's gonna be so cute! And my ears stick out. I mentioned this in the tweet, but my ears stick out already. They just do. And so these ears would probably look more like this on someone else, but on me, they're gonna hang out probably in that direction, which for a gnome is super cute. Like, I don't mind if my ears look big and doofy because that's kind of the gnome race a little bit. But I'm excited. It's gonna be so fun, and I do plan on doing a makeup stream at some point one of these weeks, especially after I get my contacts. Those should be coming in at some point. I don't know. I'll keep you guys posted when I have more information about that. But yeah, we'll do like ear applications. I'll have the mold in my hair. That'll be a really fun episode. But so what I've been doing this week, besides continuously planning the reference sheet and my idea sheet and stuff, I've been trying to test out and modify that design that I found. I tweeted about the design this morning. I can't share my screen with you this morning just because of my setup, but I'm going to show you how I went about starting the process for these shoes right now. So first off, what I did was I got some good old plastic wrap, saran wrap, non-brand affiliated, generic, cling, plastic, whatever you want to call it. And I'll just like show you on a finger because I'm not going to wrap my leg up again. I already did that. And also, we don't have a camera set up for my legs right now. Maybe someday. But I'll show you on like my thumb. We'll do this. What I did was I take the saran wrap, and obviously there will be a lot less of it on whatever other body part you're doing. But like, just get it good and wrapped up like this. We obviously have way too much here. But like, let's say I want to make a pattern, and I know that this needs to be skin tight. That's the other thing. This doesn't really... Oh, we're almost out of tape. That blows. Ugh. Here, this is all we need for demonstration purposes. So what you're going to do is wrap whatever body part you're trying to make patterns for in saran wrap like this. And then you'll tape on top to make it rigid, and also so that you can cut into it without it all falling apart later. And it'll make this nice little like cast, basically. It's kind of like molding your leg or your arm or your, whatever. I've used this process for armor. I used it on Walnut. I'm going to be adding more to her armor later, but I made, like, I basically wrapped her torso in plastic, which is a little kinky and goofy, but it was fun. And then I could draw straight on her body where I wanted these shapes to land. with a Sharpie, because you can just draw right on top of this. Like so. Like even like this. Let's just be like, oh, I want like a thumb ring. Oh, thumb armor. Let's do thumb armor. Here we go. This will be stupid. Let's say I know, because the Sharpie goes right on top of the tape like this. Let's say I want it to look like this. And we'll just draw all the way around exactly what I want it to look like. Boop, boop, boop. And obviously this is super cheap. You can do this. You can do this. And let's get some more tape, because I don't want this to fall apart in the middle of our demonstration. This is Scotch tape. It doesn't stick to cling wrap as well, but it'll do for today. What I liked to use is packing tape, this like mailing tape. The big roll things of the clear tape are the same. The Scotch tape isn't as great, but we'll deal. So let's say we know we want this shape on this body part. We can even bend our thumb and see if where we have our idea for the armor will work, like just based on how my thumb bends. And this idea can be applied to any body part. I used it on my leg yesterday for planning these boots, so I could move my ankle around, bend my knee, make sure that everything covered by where I want this thing to live on my body will accommodate for movement. And it just gives you an idea. Obviously, I think it's going to be a little tight, but it'll work. And so what we're going to do is cut where we want our seam. We're going to cut it off of ourselves. Boop. Like that. And then look. Oh my god. Thumb pattern. It's a little glary in the camera, but you can see. And so now, if it feels like it's going to fall apart, at this point you can add more tape. It shouldn't affect all the movement that much. But do be aware that you are adding more tape to something that you already figured out would work, so it might change how it fits just a little bit. But now it's like a rigid piece, and we can go like this. Do 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 do. Boop. And then we cut off where the tape's overlapping. And then we cut the back. And look at that. And so now, just for more demonstration purposes, I'll get a scrap of this leather and see if it fits. Nah. This barely fits, but we'll make it work. And so, watching me do this, think of me doing this on my leg and my foot, which is what I did yesterday. As you can see, here's a bottom of my foot piece. And so this is exactly how much room my foot will need in the bottom. And then here's a leg piece. And I've marked these left. And I didn't mark this other one. Oh, that's because I marked the patterns. After you cut this off, and I've drawn the cool edges and stuff that I plan to have on there too. When I put this on my leg, I didn't draw straight down the middle of my shin and then my foot, like the design that we're inspired from this week. I did this cool like jagged edge that kind of traveled all over my leg, and that'll make the whole boot kind of look like it was scrapped together from like carcass bits, which is how Scrummy would have made these boots. She lives in Neverlight Grove in the Underdark with the Myconids, and she basically convinced them that she should have safety in Neverlight Grove, which is something the Myconids would just do. They're nice people. But she wanted to become part of the society and learn their way of life, so she volunteered to be part of the Circle of Hunters. And the Circle of Hunters in the Myconid village is where they get the carcasses, they go out into the Underdark, they find things that have recently died and bring their bodies back to the Myconid village, Neverlight Grove, to feed their young, I guess. And sometimes they reanimate them to become spore servants. That's a whole other thing. But so the story behind what these boots are made out of is very important for deciding how they're made. And so they're going to be very like scrapped together, sewn badly by hand with big stitches, stuff, you know. So they're going to look really messy, and that's going to be fun. We're going to get to dyeing and stuff at some other point, probably next week or soon. I need to go buy dye. But what we have are these cool shapes that we're going to be cutting out of this leather. And you can use whatever you want. If you're opposed to leather, I totally understand. It's all good. Use whatever you're comfortable with or what you can afford. It's all up to you and your character and what they would want, honestly. Here's a bunch more of it. This is like a weird greenish olive gray. It's kind of hard to tell. You can see it a little better in this camera up against this really warm brown background we have. You can see how gray this stuff is. It kind of matches my shirt almost, but darker. But we're using the back side, which is this suede. This is a lighter version of the same treatment. But like it's got all these weird speckles and spots and naturally occurring wear, and it's super soft. And it's really easy to distress, which we'll get to later. But what we're doing is cutting the little pattern out of leather. And I'll show you just real quick with the thumb thing we just made, just for demonstration, how well this idea works. And usually I would say you should put this down flat and be very careful to mark correctly and get the exact shape you intended from your pattern and all that stuff, but this is so easy, it's just going to take a second, so. Whoop! And now, we've got this weird little piece of leather, and we know that it's going to fit perfectly. And then we would put like a little lace right there, or a grommet, or an eyelet, or it fits better that way. I think that's how we designed it. But yeah, look. Boop, 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 boop. Super simple idea, super cheap to do. And then you can make stuff that fits you pretty darn quickly. It's gonna be great. So, since this was my left leg, I'm gonna be doing the opposite by flipping them over and drawing on this leather. And I'm going to try to make it all fit on the original piece so that they're all the same color. And even if I don't, that's okay. Because of our story, Scrummy obviously gets this stuff from wherever she can find it, and probably from things that have been decaying for a while already. So if some of it doesn't match and like I need to add in another thing, scrap, that's a little off-colored, it'll just make the boots look even more complex and cool. I see some people are just joining us, so I'll do a quick recap. We're making Scrummy's foot covers. Scrummy is my personal D&D character. She's a gnome warlock who lives in the Underdark with the Myconids, and she serves Zugdmoy, so she's very into mushrooms, very fungal, stuff like that. That's what she looks like. I posted the Twitter moment in the chat earlier. Somebody can repost that if it would be helpful. But then that will help you understand what kind of character we're going for if you check out the Twitter moment. And then that's also where you can catch up on everything we've already done so that you're never lost again. So because I've got these, we're going to use the backside. I really like this. I don't know if you can see it in the camera, but there's this really disheveled part of the leather it just came like that. And we're going to be distressing these even more, but using what's already on there is great. We also this is leather. I don't want to waste any of it because it's expensive, and also some poor animal gave this up so that we could use it. And I'm not going to pretend I know where this leather's from or if it was sourced correctly or any of that, but that is something that you should probably keep in mind if you are going to use animal products. Just make sure to do your best for the environment. And as much as I want to use this, it's just not going to fit this piece just because of how it's shaped. And it makes a little more sense to try to scoot it into an edge and get as much bang for our buck off of this scrap of leather. Maybe up here. Oh, it barely doesn't fit. Yeah, let's just go around the edge here and see if there's an area where the shape is good. Not really. Ooh, actually, maybe right here? We're only wasting little bits. Yeah, I kind of like that. I like that. We can make that work. So what we're going to do here is, actually, I did this wrong yesterday. This is the side we're using, and I don't want to have to deal with Sharpie marks. And I really don't like trying to use fabric pens and all that kind of stuff either on leather, because it's so hard to see, and then it rubs off, and it's annoying. So we're going to do it. This is the thing, you gotta remember, if you want to use this side, but you're on the wrong side of the fabric, you need to be on the wrong side of this, so that the side we like is the outside. I mess that up at least once a project, if not twice or 3 times. But so, just so you can see it real well, go like this, and then all these fun little edges. We're gonna cut these jagged edges into this pattern, but we're also going to be cutting more jagged edges, and probably once they're on our feet, even tweaking it a little more. If we don't get to that during today's episode, though, always know that the Twitter moment is where everything will be archived, and I'm going to be putting every step of the way on the Twitter moment. So no need to worry, you won't miss anything. So yeah, you can kind of see it over here, but this line goes all the way that way. And then we're going to do the other side. So wrong side, flipped correctly. Let's see if it fits in this corner. Ooh, yeah, look at that. This will be good. Yeah, and then now the only waste we'll have is this edge here. But we can deal with that. And if you guys have any questions, feel free to bug me in the chat. I may or may not see it, but also feel free to repeat yourself, because I might see it, and I'm sure the chat people won't get too angry if somebody's asking one question over and over. Right, chat? We'll be nice. We promise. So yeah. And I accidentally cut out the wrong side of the bottom part yesterday, so we already have one of those. And some people would prefer to use a rotary cutter on their leather or fabric or whatever you're using. That's one of those wheel things. It's like a pizza cutter but for fabric, and it's great. But I can't find mine because we just lived out of a hotel for a month and got back a week ago, and my craft room is in shambles. And I'm still trying to find everything and reorganize and stuff, so I might not always have the best tools until I get my life back in order. And sometimes there's these cool little holes. You can kind of see the hole right there. I really like buying leather for that reason, especially like the really discounted leather, because there's like stuff wrong with it. You know, like just natural wear and holes and texture and stuff. That's where I got some of the cool under layers for the Acerorat costume that I made for Chris Perkins. That was so much fun, and I loved that piece of leather because the texture on it was so gorgeous, and it was like really knobby, kinda like it had so much going on in it, and I could bring all that texture out by like dry brushing bronze on top of it so that it kind of looked a little metallic, but it was black, so it warmed up the black and made it a little bit shiny and like regal looking. It was so much fun. I really love doing textures like that. They just add so much to a character. I think texture is probably one of my favorite things. That's why I love felting so much, and I really can't wait until we get to the felting episodes, where I make Scrummy's pants, Scrummy's shirt, Scrummy's cloak. You guys can see in the design on that reference template thing that I kind of changed up her shoulders. I made these little kind of like epaulets, but it's almost like in the silhouette of like a ringer tee, like a baseball tee, where the seams are right here, and so the sleeves are a whole different color, including the shoulders. But I'm going to be making those out of felt on top of leather like this, that the shirt will be made out of. So you'll have the nasty leather shirt all like scrapped together and sewn really grossly, but then there will be like mold and moss growing down my shoulders. It's gonna look so cool. But I changed that up in the design a little bit, and you guys can see that in the design template and then the little character reference that I posted. I'm really excited for that. I really can't wait to start doing some sample tests, like swatch tests, where I just kind of mess with the colors and see what kind of textures I can get it to make for me, and it's going to be really cool. And I had a fun surprise. I had picked out all of those cool colors of wool from worldofwool.com, and I realized that I might have some of those colors already upstairs in my storeroom. And I went up and looked, and I had literally half the colors already, and so instead of like the $70 it was going to cost to buy all that wool I wanted, it cost me like $45, which was super awesome. Because they really send you a lot of wool. They really do. Someone in the chat asks, Danny, how did you start out crafting the awesome costumes for D&D? That's such a weird, funny question. Well, my husband does art and illustration for Magic the Gathering and Dungeons and Dragons, and he has for quite some time, especially D&D. I mean, especially Magic the Gathering. He's been working on that for about 10 years now. Like a long time. But yeah, they brought him in to do some concept work. Concept art, like working on a world while they're still planning it. Just to get some visual representation for the writers, and then these are the things that they send out to other artists to make the art for the cards and the books and all that. So he was in for a Dungeons and Dragons concept push, making concept art for whatever world they were going to be releasing a couple years down the line. And so we get to go to Wizards of the Coast and live in the hotel next door for 3 weeks at a time. And I always just went with him because I was dating him. And I got to know the team, and they found out I was a cosplayer, and they were like, "Oh, you build stuff," and I was like, "Yeah, I would love to build something for you." And they got to know me, and we built a trusting relationship, and they felt comfortable giving me a chance. And so if you go and look up from the Storm King's Thunder release at PAX 2 years ago, PAX West, I think it was. I built a massive Giants helmet, Frost Giants helmet, and two 8-foot hatchets, um, based on some of my friends' art, actually, which was really fun. Um, the helmet was a design from my husband, and then the hatchets were a design from my friend Tyler Jacobson. It's really cool to get to just bring their designs into life. It was really awesome. But that's how I started, and that was like a super rush job. It wasn't ideal in any sense, but we got it done, and it was really fun and super cool. And they still bring that helmet out. Like they had it at HasCon last year. It was super, super fun. But yeah, since then it's just been growing, and every year they're like, "Hey, here's the new stuff." And then like my husband works on the art um, years ahead of time consistently, so I get to see what they're working on and throw ideas around with them sometimes. It's not my job really to give them ideas, but um, sometimes I'll be like, "Hey guys, wouldn't it be cool if we could?" And then, you know, sometimes it works out, sometimes it doesn't, but when it does, it's really cool. And then I get to work on projects like the Goblin from last year's release. That was a crazy build. And then this will be my third year doing stuff with D&D. So that's how that all happened. You know, I just kind of made some friends and um, worked my ass off to try to prove to them that I could make them some cool stuff. And we're still working together. So that's how that works out. I mean, if anything, it's just a cool story about how if you do what you love hard enough and well enough, people will notice, and sometimes they'll pay you to do it, and that's a really cool goal to set for yourself. I saw another question. Danny, how much of an allowance for seams do you like to leave when cutting out of pattern pieces? You know, I'm really bad about that. I have not had any formal training whatsoever when it comes to sewing, and so I'm not even sure, like, what's recommended. I know sometimes it's like an inch or a half an inch, um, but I kind of just wing it, honestly. I'm the worst at that. I really want to get better at that. I want to train myself and go through a couple patterns, following the directions like I should. At some point, someday when I have more free time, I'm gonna try to spend time learning by reading sewing books and like looking through some tutorials and stuff like that. But until then, um, like you can see there's a seam allowance on this. I'm actually going to leave it because of the way I'm going to sew it, and I'll show you how or why I'm going to leave it in a minute. But I think generally like half an inch is more than enough for me. But yeah, I don't know, whatever makes it good for you. I'm going to read the chat really quick. Yeah, Mini Train Domain has some cool life experience that also proves that if you just hang on to stuff, it can come in handy later. Like all this leather. I just had this leather laying around. You know what else I had laying around that you guys will know from the last stream is these cool jawbones. And I know this will gross some of you out. I'm really sorry. These are actually from different animals because they're the same side. Uh, uh, I won't tell you why because it's a weird experiment that went nowhere. But I hung one of these in one of my trees in the backyard. That's where the other half of this one is, and it's like strung up like a hag's nest. It was when I was trying to figure out some brand photography stuff for craft tags way before season 1 started, and I was like, oh cool, like nuts and bones and feathers hanging in the trees will make for some cool background. I don't know, it went nowhere. But the bones are still hanging in my yard. But I need to go get that one because I need to attach bones. Like in the reference sheet, you'll see Scrummy has bones, jaw bones specifically, kind of making like a little collar mantle thing on her chest, and I'm gonna sew these on to the shirt that I build. I'm actually even considering casting these and then molding them in a flexible foam. Um, Pretty much the same way I built the Giant's axes. Obviously, 8-foot axes are going to be very dangerous at a convention, and people are going to be picking them up. So I like to make that stuff out of flexible foam that looks rigid, and then that way, if I move, my shoulders are like this, or I need to reach something, these bones that are stuck to me, they'll look exactly like this because I casted them, but when I make them again out of foam, they won't poke me, I can hug people, nobody will get, you know, ripped clothing because they touched me, you know, it's as much as I want these cool bones, I'm probably going to have to copy them somehow and make them more costume friendly. So there will probably be an episode about that too. That would be a really super fun episode. Making just the bones and the decor that'll go on Scrummy, but out of foam. It'll be really cool. But yeah, you can see that in the reference sheet. There's a few other changes I made, and I might have to pull that up again in a couple episodes just to show you guys the design decisions I've made and the choices we've changed and stuff. But first, what I'm going to show you is how I built these. They're these little, you know, I need arch support, you know, especially walking around a con. You're going to be on your feet for like 8 hours. And I really wanted these shoes to be really comfortable. So what I did was yesterday I sewed one of these into the bottom here. And then I flipped this over and sewed it on top so you won't be able to see even between my toes the little squishy part. And then I sewed, after that, I sewed this on the side here, and this on the other side here like this, and all you gotta do is make sure that they meet in the back like this, and then sew them around the edge, like that. And all I did was use a needle, some of this artificial sinew. I really like this stuff. This is black. It also comes in like a tan, like a really kind of ugly, it's supposed to look like intestines, like intestinal sinew, like they traditionally use with leatherworking, but it's super tough and super strong, and I love using it to sew things together, especially because the black sinew on this suede really stands out. It's going to be great. But let me show you how far I got yesterday, because this shoe is actually almost done. It's like a cooking show, guys. We had it made all along. But here's the shoe. The little front part is sewn in. You can see the stitches there. I know my lighting's not that great this week, but I'm gonna get on that. I might have to glue it down, but it might just hang on to my feet too. We'll see. That'll be a thing we decide after we test it. But then my foot just goes in here, and then it comes around the back like this. Whoop. And you can already see in the back, I've laced up the back just really quickly, just so I could get it on my leg. And what I'm gonna do now, I think, is sew up the front as well, so we can get an idea of what this looks like. And maybe I'll put it on. Maybe we can put it on today. Yeah, Oboe Crazy, I see you talking about comfort during cons, and I know that so many people don't think about that enough. Like, I know you really want your costume to look cool, but like if you're gonna be wearing something, especially if you are traveling to a place and you have like a hotel room and that's like your only private area in maybe the state. I don't know. Like, if you go to Gen Con, you want to look like your D&D character, you have to, hopefully your hotel is close. You know, getting a close hotel at Gen Con is near impossible these days, unless you're really on top of that stuff. And then you gotta walk to the convention. How far away is that? Or are you gonna take a taxi? Does your costume fit in a taxi while it's on your body? Sometimes it don't. But yeah, uh, you need to think about all of that. Specifically with Gen Con, for example, it's really good to get in one of the hotels that has one of those skywalk things. It's just a bridge from your hotel to the convention center. You might not even need to go outside, which is great if it's raining. If you're going to PAX West, it probably will be, because this is Seattle, and that's what it does there. It's just, but you need to know, like, what kind of shoes am I going to have on me? Do these come off really easy? Do they not come off really easy? These won't. These are going to be laced up all the way up to my knee, and, like, none of this stitching is going to slide very easily, and I know that. So I have built these comfort things in, and my toes are going to be exposed and like hitting the ground. So I'll need to be careful where I'm walking. I need to make sure, you know, I'm not going to pick up some sort of fungal thing. I don't know. I just need to be aware of these things because wearing a costume somewhere is not a good enough reason to like sacrifice your health, maybe, you know, have injury. None of that's worth it. And you don't need to suffer for your costumes. You really don't. Just plan ahead like this. I really like flat shoes and like sock type shoes and stuff like that. So, yes, Sumqui, I know Scrummy likes fungus, but Danny does not like foot fungus. I've never had it. I don't plan on getting it. That's it. Uh, I feel bad for people that have foot fungus. I don't want that. I don't want it. I don't want it. I'll have fake foot fungus even. I mean, that's the fun part about these shoes is when my toes are sticking out, I get to like make my toes look gross on purpose, but I don't want that to be not optional. So we're gonna protect my little toes and hopefully I don't step in anything gross or like have to be in a public shower or anything like that. So we'll see. But yeah. Yay, looking fake gross. I know! I can't wait to show you guys the makeup episode, especially my fake rotten teeth. I have this tooth paint stuff. You may have seen it on my Instagram like a year ago, but I don't know if that picture is easily... Yes, it's a Fifth Element tattoo. I don't know if that picture is easy to find, but it's gonna be real gross, and it's gonna be a lot of fun too, because it's not often I get to actually make myself look gross on purpose in public. So first I'm just gonna use this sinew and tie a knot here so that we have somewhere where it won't come out if we pull on it, because we're gonna be trying to lace these up later. And also, here's a fun little tip. When you're hand stitching with like a needle into leather, if you're doing like the suede side, you can just poke it right in and out. No big deal. It's super comfy, but sometimes if it's got like a coating on it, like this side, it'll stick to your needle and it makes it really hard to push through. So I like to get these little, I call them little pot holders. I don't know what they're really called, but they're like little rubber sticky mat things, and you just wrap it around your needle, and then you've got a really good grip on your needle. And I like them better than thimbles too, because thimbles just fall off your fingers constantly, and I really like the dexterity. So how we put these together is the where they meet won't be straight in the middle of my leg, like as you can see on this boot. It starts way over here, which isn't the middle. This is like the middle, and then it's gonna like sweep over this side of my foot, and then it's gonna go around kind of to the outside of my ankle, and then come back in, and then stay on that side of my foot. It'll be really cool. But then you can also see some of the the ragged edge and the distressing I've done. And as far as distressing, I mean, I have a sanding block with some really, really rough sandpaper on it. You guys can see the sand in this sandpaper. It's insane. And this makes a big mess, but I'll show you. Like, obviously, some of these edges are still super clean. That's not very scrummy-esque. We need, like, really bad distressing. And then I've cut some holes. Sorry, I'm gonna sneeze. Sneeze over. Just rubbing, and then, like, especially on the outside, if you just kind of bunch it up like this so that it makes like an irregular edge, and then just kind of rub it into the sandpaper, you get all these little fluffy fuzzies everywhere. So keep a shop vac or a vacuum of some kind nearby. But then if we've got a lot of irregular texture on here, especially when we come back and dye these, because I like these, they're almost the perfect color, but I do kind of want them to be a little more gray with like hints of purple. So I'm going to be hitting this with some purple dye as soon as I can get my hands on that. And I'll show you guys how that goes if I don't do it on stream. Again, it will be in the Twitter moment, so just keep yourselves updated there. Follow Craft Hags on Twitter. Yeah, look at how nasty and gritty and gross this is getting. It's gonna be so great. Really make these edges look natural and rough. I've got some Sharpie marks on here on the edges. We definitely don't want that visible. Now we've got little nasties all over the place. Blech. Actually, I'm gonna show you like my very favorite thing in the whole world that I've ever bought for my craft room. And it's my shop vac. I'm gonna plug it in. Hopefully it won't blow out the mic, but I want to show you just how freaking simple and cheap this is, and it's amazing. This is a Home Depot bucket, and they make a vacuum that goes on top of it. And I think the whole thing cost me $30 or $40, and it comes with a big hose. They have other hoses. This hose kind of sucks because it's super cheap, but then you just go, boop. Clean! It's all clean. Wasn't that freaking easy? And for like, what, 40 bucks? And you're not gonna like clog up your nice house vacuum with whatever you're doing in your craft room? Love it. Definitely the best thing I've ever bought. And then this whole top just comes off the bucket, and then you dump the bucket in the garbage. It's like, and this thing will pick up like scraps of EVA foam. It'll pick up small scraps of fabric, paper, all of it. Nothing gets stuck. I mean, within reason. Like, don't be trying to suck up rocks, but you know. But I love that. I bring it with me everywhere. I brought it to the hotel when we were staying at Watsy because I had costume work to do in the hotel, and obviously I'm not going to like knock on housekeeping's door every 5 minutes and be like, I made another mess. Will you vacuum this up for me? So if you need to do work in a hotel room, that's the secret weapon. Let me tell you. But yeah, back to the shoes and the stuff we were supposed to be doing. I don't have ADD. What are you talking about? So, I'm just going to be making these really big, crazy stitches for now. Just to get it in a shape where we can put it on our foot. So let me stitch this up. Now would be a great time. I think it is wet dry, the vacuum. Somebody asked about the vacuum. Don't quote me on that, but I want to say it's probably wet dry. But I love my little baby vacuum like a child. It's gotten me out of a lot of trouble. Ugh. But yeah, and so for the person asking about the seam allowance thing, I told you that we had that seam allowance on the bottom here. And that's because I used the shiny side down on the ground. And then this part I just sewed to the sides here, overlapping. And then I really like this kind of ledge it's making here. And you'll see once the boot is in profile where that kind of sticks out. It kind of looks mushroomy. And I'm going to rough this up and kind of like treat that edge so it looks cute. You know, cute meaning rotten. When I say cute and I'm working on scrummy, I mean rotten and ugly. But y'all will get used to that, I promise. Yeah, Cherry Baby, I did the cooking show trick and I had this already made from yesterday, so we're going to be finishing this boot so you guys can actually see what it's going to look like before the stream's over, which is in 1 hour. And then we've got Dragon Talk with Greg Tito, and I'm pretty sure Kate Irwin and Jeremy Crawford will be on today talking about the new book that they released. I think Nathan talked about it on a fireside chat last Friday, talking about the new book they're releasing, Mordenkainen's Tome of Foes, and I don't even know what it's about, so I'm actually going to be tuning into Dragon Talk to see what it is, because that seems super cool and exciting. Hopefully they'll have like a interview with Murdy Curdy himself, Sam Witwer. That would be silly, wouldn't it? I would like that. Hey D&D channel, you should make a faux interview with Murdy Curdy, Sam Witwer. For anybody who doesn't know what I'm talking about, Sam Witwer played Mordenkainen on Dice Camera Action in Season 1, and I think parts of Season 2, maybe. But wouldn't that be hilarious? Just get him on here. He does, I mean, I don't know much about Mordenkainen, honestly, but him playing that character just got me. I was laughing my ass off. It was so entertaining. I love Sam Witwer being Mordenkainen. He's hysterical. I would even dress up Sam Witwer as Mordenkainen for this faux interview. If it came down to it, honestly. That would be hilarious. And so I'm literally just doing a super crazy messy stitch back and forth between these two sides. And I know that it's not going to be lined up correctly, but I just need to get it put together, see what it looks like on my body, and then make adjustments. Maybe it not fitting well will look really cool, and maybe it'll like bag up all gross and make my legs look kind of like dumpy shapes, kind of like a rotting corpse or like mushrooms or, just all these things that we're trying to invoke the feeling of with this costume. Or maybe it'll just be bad and then we'll know, we'll fix it. But first we gotta do a test fit. And I think what I'll do is like put this on and then like plop my leg up on the table and let you guys see. Oh man, yeah, Murdy Curdy would need a 10-foot pole for this interview. I could make that happen, man. That'd be funny. Hey, I know Greg Tito's probably listening or may listen to this eventually, but if you want me to dress up Sam Witwer like Mordenkainen, so you can interview him on Dragon Talk. I'm down. Just let me know. Blame Tito! Mordenkainen was one of Gary Gygax's original party members back in olden days of D&D. That's cool. I didn't know that. I knew he was a really old character, but that's really funny to hear. What would he think now? Whoops. I pulled this through. I wasn't done yet. Alright. So let's just see here. We've got kind of a boot thing ready. Thank you, Oboe Crazy, for keeping the chat informed. I really appreciate that. I see you. I see you! Alright, so I'm gonna roll up my legging here. And see if this fits. You guys! Guys, I'm freaking out. This is so cute. Okay. Plop. Look at that! Oh my god! I'm amazed. See, it's quite loose though. I really like how all over the seam is. That's awesome. But obviously we want it to be tight like this. So we know that the way it sits now is perfect in the front. But so what we're going to have to do is take this out of the back. So what I'm going to do here, I'm going to show you another cool thing I like that's super cheap. These are binder clips. Yum, yum, yum. Alligator clips, whatever you want to call them. And I'm going to clip the back here. If I can get it. I'm going to clip the back here so that I can mark exactly. This is kind of just to replace pins, because pins won't really go through leather very well. Or they will, but you'll dull your pins really bad. And like, I've actually hurt myself quite a few times trying to put pins through leather. Like, I just end up stabbing myself. So binder clips and holding leather together are like best friends. It's great. And so now we know just how much out of the back we need to take. And then up in the top, that's tight enough. I don't need to take any off there. But now the problem is, how do I get it off my foot without snapping any of those binder clips off? I'm going to get a chair here so I don't fall over. Boop. I think I could slip it out the top. Yeah, this will work. Yeah, okay. Crisis averted. What do I do to hold my bags of chips together if I'm using binder clips for this? Well, actually, my grandma, who is just the sweetest pea, sent me these funny chip clip things, actually. It's really funny that you bring this up because I have been blown away by these chip clip things. It's like a pole that slides over the top of your chip clip bag. Like, you fold the chip clip bag over and then it, like, I don't know. I'll have to find these freaking chip clips. You remind me before the thing's over, and I want to show you these genius chip clip things because they're freaking awesome. But yeah, for now, we need to focus on this boot. I don't have ADD, stop it! I should get a camera for my legs. Honestly, getting a camera that is like a full body shot is probably something I'm going to want to do before this whole craft hags thing is said and done. Because especially when we're making the cloak, I'm really going to want you guys to be able to see how it looks on me. And that's going to be a big part of the show is test fits and judging whether or not it looks okay and stuff like that. So I will be figuring out some sort of camera for full body shots and judging what we're even doing. Actually, what I was going to do is sew up the back here, but I want the back to have a lot of that weird edge too. So I think what I'm going to do is just cut. We're going to cut just on the other side of these alligator clips, because we know that everything on this side of the alligator clips is going anyway. Cut, 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 cut. So yeah, now we know all this was not necessary. I'm glad you guys like my tangents, because I don't know how to stop them. But so now we'll take this big piece of sinew that we threaded up, and start making these big gaps. These big stitches, I mean. Get rid of those old ones. Don't need those old stitches. There we go. Okay. So yeah, I will just quickly do like a lace-up stitch here. Get these binder clips out of the way. Probably. Here we go. The thread's too long to pull it out to past my arm length. It's going to be a problem. Alright, here we go. Boop. And in fact, I really like the way that that front piece and all that negative space is to show off the stitching looked on the front. So I think what I'll do is figure out this back here and then do like some eyelets or something so that, or just find some lacing. That's the other thing we have to figure out is what kind of lacing we want these to have. Because I've got like cotton cord. I could just use sinew like we are using currently. I've also got this really cool like round cord that's kind of smooth and shiny. It's a little clean looking for scrummy, honestly. I think that looks very man-made, you know. This is like a square lace. It's like a strip of leather. It's not shiny, which is great, so that might work. And I love how thick it is. Like that is some, like visually, that is loud. Like it's got an impact. It's thick, you see it, it hits your eye. I kind of like that. So maybe I will get this stitching on here just to make sure the fit looks good. And then poke bigger holes. And do eyelets or something. I don't know. I really don't want metal on Scrummy's body anywhere because she wouldn't have found that in Neverlight Grove, you know? They're not going to have like a leathersmith to make fine custom leather goods for people in Neverlight Grove. Because they're Myconids. Myconids don't even wear clothes. So they're not going to have a clothing store or an armorer or, you know, stuff like that. So this would all just be stuff that Scrummy put together herself, which is kind of why I really don't mind, like, not doing it right, because Scrummy wouldn't be doing it right, you know? And those are all things to consider when you're planning out what all these little details look like. It's like, what would the character have access to? Stuff like that. We've almost got this all laced up. Arda, yes. I see people talking about Arda. Arda Wigs is the best place to find wigs, in my opinion. They've got a lot of different options for levels of complexity. Like if you need a really nice looking lace front wig, they've got those. They've got videos to even tell you what lace front wigs are. It's great. They've got cheap wigs. They've got more expensive wigs. They range probably from like $30 to $120. So you're still not dropping thousands of dollars on a wig, which is awesome. And then the people at Arda are super cool. Like if you need something in a rush, they sometimes have options to help you out there. If you, so one time I placed an order with them and it was wrong. And something that I put in my bag was out of stock or something. And I was like, hey, I really need this one wig out of this big order I made. Can you cancel my order and then just send me this one wig that I know you have in stock? And then they were like, oh, well, actually, our whole website's wrong. Let me tell you what we really have, and then I can help you get everything you need in time. And it was super cool of them. So, like, Arda Wigs, ARDA.com. Or just Google it, Arda. Arda. They're great peeps. Love them. They are a staple in the cosplay community, too. Luckily, Scrummy won't need a wig. I really like wigs, though. Wigs are fun. Boop. Alright, and then I'm just going to rip the rest of this stitching out because it doesn't matter anymore. I hope you guys are enjoying this Sirenscape sound set because I really like the weird frogs. They actually sound awesome. Kind of like birds, but like gross. Like it's just a cute, natural sound, but it's not tweets. Maybe we'll do tweets next week. Maybe I should put up a Twitter poll and vote, or have you guys vote on what we listen to next week. I like that idea. I might do that. I'm going to write that down. Because I will forget it. You guys know. You know me. I'll forget. Vote on sound set. That'll be hilarious. Thank you. I appreciate your appreciation for my Fifth Element tattoo. Alright, so I've sewn up the back here, and I'm going to slip my leg in and see if it doesn't rip apart. Oh! There we go. Oh, I like it, guys. I like it. Weep. So there's the front. Looks great. We're going to do a lot more distressing here on the edges. We'll also be adding dye, trying to make them look a little more stained and discolored because, yes, these are dark gray, but these need to look like she's been walking around in some mud, you know. And then the back. Sorry, I can't twist my leg that well. You can kind of see there's a big lace-up area in the back. This isn't awkward at all. What are we doing? All right. But yeah, next I'm going to make the little toe strings that go in between my toes. That part will be really weird. I've never shown off my feet on a stream before, but, you know, sometimes you gotta do what you gotta do. Put my sock back on because my foot's cold. Feet on Twitch. No, let's not start a trend, okay? No, guys, no. I doubt Twitch wants that. Feet streams. You guys, what are you doing? I hope for sure she won't have to walk in the snow. I do not think I will be going to any conventions or shows in this costume where it will be snowing, so we'll try to keep it that way. If she has to go through anything crazier than like a city sidewalk, which is already pretty gross, we'll have to like figure out some other boot covers or something for Scrummy. So, just so you guys know, this is only one boot. I've got all the stuff to make the other boot, and I'll be finishing that off stream, and then I'll post a really cool picture of me wearing these once it's all said and done. And then, like, I'll be showing off my dyeing experiments, just like, you know, all the fun stuff. Somebody says there's been quite some controversy about showing feet on stream, so we might want to avoid it altogether. I agree, that's a good point. There's some people in the world that really like feet, and so we'll leave those people to their interests elsewhere, and I'll keep the feet stuff to a minimum. Liking feet is cool, but it's just not the place for that. That's all. I won't yuck your yum. But so what I am gonna do is just try like I'm gonna mark my foot down here just to even see what the spacing of my toes are, so I can kinda Oh, I hear those weird frogs. All right. So this is kind of unexpected. I've marked where the insides of my, like where my toes meet my foot, and the dots are all over the place. That's so weird. So I think what I'm gonna do is just try for like some slits. This is gonna be where I'm experimenting and I don't know what I'm doing ahead of time, so bear with me. I'm going to make some slits that don't quite touch the dots, but they kind of connect the dots, and then see if my toes fit through them. I'm even going to do like a little slit upwards too, so it's kind of like where you put a straw through a lid, like at McDonald's. You just, but it's like little flaps. Also having weird little flaps, like getting gross, like around my toes, might like really add visual like grossness. So we'll see We'll see. Let me catch up on the chat. Oh, is there a sole in the boot? Is it pretty supportive or just squishy squish? It is supportive. Look at this. It's got arch support. Actually, I usually wear these in my Doc Marten high heels, which are, they don't have arch support and they're pretty high, but they also are like pretty comfortable, but they could use a little help. But I took these out and like they're very squishy, but also they keep my arch supported. So, and then like if I'm walking around on rocks or something, like I could always lift these up on the inside and put a really rigid piece of leather underneath the sole part to make sure nothing like pokes me, especially if I'm going to be like in a city, say, like let's say I need to wear this in downtown Seattle and oh, somebody left like a drug needle on the ground. I don't know. There's stuff on the ground that's bad. And you don't want those in your feet. Alright, so some of these toe holes are looking okay. Some of them aren't big enough though. So instead of going wide, because if we go any wider, they'll just run into each other and make one big hole. We're going to cut the little slits going up and down to add more room. See how that works for us. So yeah, just so you know, we're kind of making little straw holes for my toes to come through. And this is kind of just like a test piece of leather. Once I figure out what it needs to look like, I'll get a nice piece and redo it. It looks funny, let me tell you that. Wow, okay. So I'm just going to make some snips here to make these fit just a little better. Oh, this is actually really funny. The way it, I'll show you guys really quick, just so you know what I'm talking about. You see how it kind of wrinkles up here? I like that. And so when I take this off and we just sew it right in to the end here, kind of like the end of the sock, we're going to put it in like this. Boop. It looks real gross, you guys, too. It kind of looks like I had like a sock that I wore all the holes in, and then my toes are just sticking through it in every direction, and it looks not good. Which is good for scrummy. Not good is good. I see somebody's message got denied. I don't know what happened, but hopefully nobody's unable to say something they want to say. If it's allowed. I don't know what you're talking about, weirdos. Just kidding. You guys aren't weird, I like you. So because I did this in the wrong way, this is going to be for the other foot. And just to prep it so I know, I'm going to write, since this is the inside, the shiny part, I'm going to write left. No, wait. Right. Gosh. Right. Toes. And then we'll do big toe and then pinky. So that they know exactly, they, meaning I, know later exactly where this is going to go on the other foot. So we're going to put that in the pile to build the other shoe. But actually we're going to get it back out because I need to copy it onto the other side of a different piece. Where'd my scissors go, guys? Who took my scissors? Here they are. Ooh, wait. I just cut off this scrap, and that scrap is gross. I should probably save that for something. It's gross and pretty. So yeah, we'll cut this little scrap here. And look at that! We have officially used the same scrap of leather for both feet, which is awesome. That means our boots will match perfectly. So I'm going to make dots here in the middle, just to show where the little toesies should go. And trace these little X's I cut. Yeah! And now, doo-doo-doo! That's going to be really cool. Ew! Somebody just said, Druids using necromancy to animate clothing. And I see some of you are using puns. Some of you know that puns hurt my soul. If you're new to this show, I'll explain to you why I hate puns. It's just because my brain can't make them. I'm jealous. My brain is jealous of your brains who can make puns. So I welcome puns, but do not expect me to smile at them. Mazmataz knows better than anybody. Her Twitter handle is currently Lady of Pun. Yeah. No! Crystal! Ugh! Crystal said puns hurt my soul. Like, the soul. Ugh! You turds. Too good at that. I'm just jealous. Jealous rage. Now Crystal's laughing at me. Darn you, Crystal. And I will take this opportunity to mention again that Crystal has been very kind and has made us a Discord for us to hang out at. So if you guys have things you want to share, you have questions for the community, you just want to make friends who like to make D&D stuff, the Discord for Craft Hags is where you should go, and they've posted the link a few times. You can definitely post it again, but there you can meet people like Mazmataz and Crystal, and watch them make puns that hurt my feelings. So I'm gonna try this. I'm gonna try this on my toes again now that I've copied this onto a piece of leather on the right side, and just see how it fits. Oh yeah, and I want to mention really quick that you guys, if you like watching the streamed D&D games, this isn't an official D&D channel game, but I know a bunch of the girls, they like to do, I shouldn't say girls, they, there are groups of people who like to run fan-made D&D games, and they're very fun and very interesting, and they have a lot of great characters. One of which is Mataz and a bunch of their friends, and I'm awful. I can't remember everybody who's in the game right now, like, but they do holiday themed games, and I think I've seen that they're doing a Valentine's themed game? Their Christmas themed game was really funny. I want to say it was called Sleigh Bells or something. I'm the worst. Like, please forgive me, but they have the funnest little games that are holiday themed, so they don't stream them all the time, but like I'm really looking forward to the Valentine's Day one cuz it's going to be so goofy and yeah. But I've gotten to pop into a couple of those and they're just freaking awesome. They just did that Saturday, the Valentine's Day game. That's so cool. Yeah, but all Sleigh Bells, that's what they're called. I knew it was called Sleigh Bells, but I was like, that's not a pun. See how bad this is? They meant sleigh as in murder. Bells. So, yeah, you're starting to get the picture. This is where the rage comes from, guys. I can't remember anything, and I can't get the puns right because I can't even remember them. But they're so good. They're so funny. Also, if you like streamed games, I play on a game called Misclicks. We are doing our season finale on Wednesday. It's going to be the last one in this season. Hopefully, I get to come back and play more as Wiley, the half-orc mystic. She's a 12-year-old, massive half-orc little girl who is very much like Pinkie Pie from My Little Pony. So if you can imagine an adventurer like that, traipsing around the jungles of Chult with several other grumpy adventurers, it's good times. It's very good times. And our DM Curtis Weeb is amazing. He always has a cliffhanger for us at the end of everything, and I love it. I love it. I'm so happy. But if you guys want to see me play a character that's not Scrummy or talk about anything else, that's where you can do that. Right here on the D&D channel on Wednesdays at 4 p.m. But Wednesday is the last day we're going to be streaming that game, so unless they renew it. So, and hopefully they will, because I've had a ton of fun. May or may not work out, but we'll see. I sure hope it does. So I think now, just to test, I'm going to make a stitch on these toes, stitching them to the front of this boot thing, and then try it on again just to make sure that that's where they actually need to be sitting. It might need to move forward, it might need to move back. We'll get a lot of information through this little test fit. I should just leave my sock off. I don't know why I keep putting it back on. Okay, so I've slid my foot in and now I'm testing the toe holes. I can already tell that these are going to be a bitch to get on and off. But that information is very useful because then if I know I need like a good 5 minutes to get these on and off, that can help me make good decisions about where I wear this, what kind of weather I wear this in. Oh, actually it's perfect! Alright, so I'm gonna make some cuts here. And I'll show you guys in 1 second after I get all the extra fabric cut off that I'm going to be removing from our little toe hole basket thing. I don't know what to call it. No, I'm not cutting off my toes. Don't worry. But yeah, let me show you guys what this looks like, because it's starting to look almost finished. It looks really cool. Boop! So like, those little toe hole things, you can see them right here. It's attached to the bottom. And then this other part flips over, and I'll be sewing this end in like that, all the way up to the edge, and then it'll look like this. Look at that. We freaking did it, you guys. I didn't know if this was going to come together on stream. And then this whole edge back here, I will be strengthening the leather or finding a different lace. Because if you pull on these, it might rip this really soft leather. This is really soft leather. But yeah. And they are super comfy, you guys. I might wear these all the time. I'm sorry. I mean, it's a little unprofessional just to have my toes hanging out, but I kind of don't care because this is great. Yeah. You guys. I can't even tell you. Is it stretchy enough to allow swelling? No, it doesn't stretch at all, but the fun part about the back lacing is that I can, once I figure out what kind of lacing moves through that leather really easily, I can loosen it up, open up the whole back of the shoe, kind of like a zipper or like a corset for your leg, something like that. Yeah. And I'm really sorry I had to show you guys my feet so much today, but I think we're done with that now. It just comes with the territory, making shoes. But so what I'm going to do is I am going to pin. Actually, no, I'm not going to pin because I can't picture myself getting my toes out of here without poking the crap out of myself. So I'm just going to make some mental notes about where everything needs to line up. Yeah. Cool. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and take this off now. And look at that! We didn't get banned. We showed the feats and we... now it's over. Okay. So now I know. Let's just we're just gonna start stitching this. Where'd my little pot holder go? This is strangely soothing. I'm glad! I'm really glad. That's how I really feel like making stuff should be fun and relaxing even when you aren't sure it's gonna go well or even what you're doing. Boop. And I have to pee, so I'm going to take a really quick break, and we'll be right back for the last half hour of Craft Tag. So everybody sit tight, go get yourself a drink or a snack or whatever, and we'll be right back, okay? Bye! Alright guys, we're back! Don't worry, stream's okay. And thank you, Obo Crazy, for linking everybody to all the places where they can find me. I super appreciate it. That's the Discord is where you can go and make friends and talk about this episode or talk about what you're making and share your stuff with other people. And I highly encourage everybody to do that. I think they even made Crystal made a page where you can even just share stuff that looks cool, whether you're making it or not. I know there was a really cool thing that people were sharing a lot last week about 3D printing scales into mesh that you can wear, which obviously I'm not making, and I don't know anybody personally who's making that, but it's freaking cool, and especially if you're wearing like some Dragonborn type thing. Really awesome idea, and I really encourage you guys to share cool stuff you see that might help other people on the Discord. There's a special channel for that and everything. So go check it out. There might be some fun stuff on there you haven't seen before. Oh no, I just sewed the top to the bottom. Ugh, we'll just pull it out. Boop. So I'm just sewing the toes that we created into the end of the foot thing. The cover. I don't know. Can't really call it a shoe. And then we're going to flip this over. Put this in there. I'm going to have to like sew all the way up under the... Ugh, here we go. Oh, my needle came unthreaded. I'm going to take this opportunity because somebody did point it out. Because I want to show you this freaking chip clip thing. I know we were joking about what are we going to do with our chips if we're using binder clips for leather. Well, my grandma sent me this thing. It's called a grip stick. And I want you all to see it because it's changed my freaking life. And yeah, bean chips are the most delicious. Love them. So you fold your chip bag over like this, and then you stick the end in here, and then go, whoop! Freaking what? It's the best. And then they come in like different lengths if you've got like a really big bag. Like, what? It's called the grip stick. They aren't even sponsoring me, but I wanted to show you how freaking cool that chip clip thing is because I've never even heard of anything like that. And yeah. It's amazing. Way better than like normal chip clips. Chip clips are subpar to these grip stick things. Freaking cool. Alright, so I'm gonna finish sewing up the toes on this thing. And then before the stream's over, which is in 20 minutes, I will put them back on for all to see. How are we going to do this? This is kind of tough. Because we're going to be slowly closing up the area we're trying to sew together. I didn't think about that. Maybe like this. Going through the side here. Yeah, there we go. If I just kind of... Ugh! I Especially when you're sewing through several layers of leather. These little needle pot holders, the best. Oh my god, Doomgate Trevor's in the chat! Hi Doomgate Trevor, I love you. Everybody go follow Doomgate Trevor, if you're a fan of the C-Team, that is. Otherwise, you won't have any idea who Doomgate Trevor is. But I thoroughly enjoy the Doomgate Trevor presence online. It makes me laugh. I don't know who runs that Twitter either, but you do good. You do good work. We're gonna see if this even works, because I know there was a lot of bunching involved in this piece I'm trying to sew in, and I'm not really remembering how much it bunched where. And the only reason I'm not being exact about this at all is because Scrummy wouldn't give a crap if her shoes look well made, whatnot. She doesn't concern herself with those things. So it's in character, and that's all good. And I don't need to waste my time worrying about it. 'Cause Scrummy wouldn't. Okay. Because I kinda have this in here now, it's a giant mess. But that's okay. And I can redo these stitches later once I figure out that they are in the right place, and figure out if I like the way they look. Maybe I would prefer a different stitch or a different material to stitch with, or I just want to redo them so they look different. It's all good. For now, I'm just testing, just experimenting, just making sure it's even gonna work. And then I can cut off all these extra bits and bobbles. So I'm gonna try the foot on one more time. And then once I get my foot down in there, try to get my toes in the holes. Yeah, like I said earlier, getting these toe shoes on is gonna be a little bit of a struggle every time. Always putting my toe in the wrong hole. Isn't that just the way life goes? And I really like how ragged they look down by the toes, so I'm not going to worry about it too much. And then I'm going to pull on some of this lacing here in the back so we can get it fit tightly. Kind of get an idea what it's going to look like when it's all finished. Thank you for your patience, everyone, while I figure out my shoes. Cool! And look at that! We have a finished booty. Nice and gross, toes hanging out the front. It even has this nice little like flap that kind of hangs over, which looks great, honestly. I'm leaving it. And if I wanted, I could tighten this up, I could loosen it up. All that. And then we will hit it with more distressing. I could probably do that while it's on me to really make it look worn. Try not to take off too much and actually hit my skin or anything, but this is a good way, especially like where the ankle is. Really hit this hole. We can make this hole look all ragged. Kind of pull some of the little tendrils off and make them even more crazy looking. Same with all this. This all looks quite clean currently. But yeah, look at that! We did that, you guys! We did it! I'm not even going to bother to take it off again because it's going to take a while. And it's really good to wear what you've made, like as much as you can before your big event, so that like, what does this thing feel like when I've been wearing it for 30 minutes, an hour, 2 hours, you know, stuff like that. Just get an idea for how it fits, and then like the more practice you have wearing it before whatever event you're hoping to wear it to, or even if you're just going to wear your D&D costume out to lunch, you need to know if you're going to be able to make it through lunch, or if your shoes are just going to be so uncomfortable, you're going to have to go back to the car and change your, you know, like don't be one of those girls at the bar who's like has her heels in her hand and she's trying to waddle back to her car barefoot. Like, that's not a good look. Let's not do that. So yeah, we've got about 10 minutes left here, but I don't mind wrapping up a little early so that Mr. Greg Tito can get ready for Dragon Talk. They're going to be talking about Mordenkainen's Tome of Foes, I'm pretty sure it's called. They just announced it on Friday. But Kate Irwin, who's one of the art directors, and then Jeremy Crawford, you all know him, they're all going to be in the studio talking about the new book and what's going to be in it, and I'm sure you all want to know about that. So, yeah, stay tuned for Dragon Talk up in about 10 minutes. I want to say thank you to everybody for showing up again. We had so much fun. Check out the Discord for details on what's going on here. Okay, people are making toe puns now in the chat, and I'm trying really hard to focus on what I'm saying. What was I saying? We'll be doing this every week on Mondays at noon. We're going to be continuing work on Scrummy all season long, and so you guys will get to see every little bit of the action. And then if you do miss a week or two, or if I do anything off stream, like I'll be doing a lot of texture tests and dyeing and, you know, all that kind of stuff. Make sure you follow Craft Hags on Twitter. It's just @CraftHags. Same with Instagram, if Instagram's more your speed. I'll be updating pictures there all the time. And check out the Twitter moment, which is the big old pile of stuff where, like, just to keep up with everything I've done so far. And if you've missed a few weeks, you can catch up there. It'll be great! Thanks for everybody who's having fun in the chat. Go make friends with each other in the Discord or something, because we all need to stick together and love each other and all that. So, yeah, thanks for watching. Catch me on Misclicks on Wednesday. It's our season finale. That's at 4 p.m. here. PST. Sorry, I know you guys don't know where here is. Yeah, that show's going to be a lot of fun. I get to play Wiley, the half-orc mystic, and she's going to... I don't even know what she's going to do. What's she going to do? I don't know. But stay tuned for Dragon Talk in 8 minutes now. See you guys next week. Bye!